can like bring about too much of a change or a reform as far as people's choices are concerned, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Step Out for me was not so much, that it's a short film, or the fact that I'm co-producing it. It was just me like backing content that I believe in as a person. It talks about mental health. It talks about abuse. It talks about, it's a time where we need to have these conversations. What a short film does is that, if people like the film, they actually come out and talk about the subject a lot more. So like yourself, whether it's getting support from the press or people who are watching it online, or just the audiences, they can refer back to it. So for me, it was more that. Answering your question about the genre, which is, the short film genre, it is something that people are getting used to. I also think more now than ever, because people's attention span is so short that they're like, okay, let's give it a shot. It's 10 minutes. It can't be that bad. So let's take a look at it, as opposed to, just drop off points on main feature films. Sometimes it's like minute 12 and you're like, okay, so, there is a growing market. It's going to take time. I've hosted several award shows where this is a legit category. People are getting recognized. Careers are being made. There are actors and actresses who start off or use this as a showcase. For me, like, I was coming back to work after almost 2 years. So, it's a bit of a canvas as well. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it was just the greed of me wanting to come back and work as an actor. And then I was taking a punt on myself. So, I have done a few short films in the past, and they've not been received badly at all. There's Lust Stories, there's Devi, and this is my third one, and I'm hoping people like this as well. No, so I have produced 5 seasons of my own podcast, co-produced it, and Big Girl Productions is the name of my company. For me, I think if there was any other short film that was offered to me during the lockdown, I'm not sure if I would have done it. But this was so relevant to the world that we're living in. And secondly, I just felt that voice needed to be amplified. And therefore, I jumped on it as a producer. It wasn't so much as to, the next checkbox for Big Girl Productions is a short film and therefore we'll do it. Not at all. Hriday actually called me, and halfway through narrating it, he was like, this is what happens. And I'm like, okay, so why don't you pause right there? I think this is extremely important. I think this voice needs to be amplified. And when you're in it as an actor, you have an ability to attach and detach very fast. At least for me, I don't know for other people. But when you're in it as a producer, you give it all you have or you've got, even after you're done shooting. Like my job is still on. I'm still talking about it, and I feel like I took it on not so much for the fact that it was a short film, but more for the fact that it dealt with mental health and abuse. As an actor, I've always, if you're talking about Lust Stories, I feel like my checkboxes is that, if you've got to own your sexuality, and I get the opportunity of dealing with a subject that can go right or wrong, and to be able to do it with a maker like Karan Johar. So, that's one thing. And for me, that was a big one. The second thing, of course, is to be a part of an ensemble like Devi, and to talk about the unfortunate rape culture that exists and it's just, it shakes you up. It just shakes you up at so many different levels, and at the level of an actor also. I still remember when we were shooting the film, and then it's the last scene, and because the film's come out about a year ago, it's the last scene that completely moves you. Even when we were shooting, there was pin drop silence. It was just so eerie to be shooting that scene, because we all know what's happened. So, and then to draw parallels with society, that this exists, is so scary. And thirdly, if you talk about Step Out, which is another short, which has got such an important message about mental health and the growing numbers and the fact that there is abuse. You see, I'm not sure about the statistic, but it's a pretty close number, because, I have read about it, that 1 out of 3 women go through abuse, whether it's sexual, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional. Abuse at any level is abuse. The sooner you come to terms with it, the better it is for you. There's no need to be in a toxic relationship. And by that, I don't mean it's a relationship between a man and a woman, or it's a relationship between husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. Abuse can happen anywhere. I don't know if you've had the opportunity of seeing the film, but in this one you also talk about the scarred relationship between a father and a son, and the frustrations that one's gone through during lockdown. But that still doesn't give you the right to abuse anyone, right? I had a lot of emotions. The fact that we pulled it off, the fact that we shot it on shoestring, the fact that we had a micro mini crew. Hriday and Suraj, who are also my co-producers, and Hriday is also the director of the film. We were sitting in my living room when we saw the final cut, and I was also so sad that there are people, as we speak about it, who are going through abuse. So the emotion of the film versus the emotion of making the film, and to be able to pull it off in and as we did, was a lot. And I also saw it for the first time with Angad. So he's just like, I saw him getting like, teary-eyed towards the end, and for me. So it was a sweet moment for us. It's not okay. Like, for me, let's just talk beyond the film. The film's going to come and go. My point is that how do I help that woman who's not even talking about it, right? How do you do that? Like, there are some unfortunate women who think that the only way out to live their lives and to be able to feed their children, because the man is the provider, he comes back home, takes his frustration out on her, abuses her probably physically, and the kids are fast asleep in the other room, and they don't know that this is happening to the mom, and she keeps quiet because the two children that she's given birth to from this man are probably going to be hungry if she doesn't let this happen to her every night. How do I help that woman? Our conversations are great, but how can we do that? There are agencies, there are people doing some amazing work. When they get to know that other people are going through abuse, or women are going through abuse, but what about the ones who are not talking about it? See those signs, reach out to your friends if you think they're getting uncomfortable with the presence of their partners in a room, or your friends are getting distant, or if you see that two of your friends who are sitting next to you and one is just using rough language around that person, that's where the culture starts from, right? Don't let it happen to people around you. Somehow pick up on the signs. So it's just none of it. What I'm trying to say is that none of it is okay. We work every day in our lives towards a better world, better education, better all of that. But imagine this person, like as we speak right now, there's probably somebody who's going through abuse. It's just so hard. It's so hard to come to terms with it.